Welcome to the deep dive. Look, if you're paying any attention to digital assets, domains especially, you know the buzz.
Yeah.
It's all about AI right now.
Yeah.
Just fever pitch activity.
Oh, absolutely. And today, we're diving deep into that, right into the heart of pretty intense conflict, actually.
Yeah, and we're not just talking, random opinions online.
Oh, no. This is coming straight from the top. We've synthesized a really high-stakes debate from leading domain investors. Think people putting serious, like 6-7 figures of their own cash on the line.
We get this from a great domain Sherpa discussion. Key players, people making headlines with huge AI domain deals, buying and selling. We're talking Andy Booth, James Booth, Drew, names you'll recognize if you follow the space.
Heavy hitters.
So our mission today, let's unpack this clash. You've got the super bullish side, like the Booth brothers, going all in. Then the much more cautious, maybe bearish view from people like Drew. Is DII this massive game-changing thing? Or just, another bubble?
A lot of money riding on the answer to that one.
Exactly. So, okay, let's unpack this. We kind of have to start with the history, right? Understand the players to get the stakes. Let's talk about the guys betting big first. The Booths. Why are they so confident in AI? How did they even get the capital for this kind of gamble?
Right. You need to understand their background. Andy Booth, he's often described as a technologist, right? And a word monger, loves words, loves tech.
Okay.
His first aha moment apparently came way back. Selling rare Pokemon cards online, GeoCities page, can you believe it? Just realizing, wow, there's value in this digital stuff.
Yeah, the early Wild West days. But the domain side really clicked later.
It did. The big one was registering and selling WWEwrestling.com. That sale, for $1,000 back then, went to John Ferber, one of the advertising.com founders.
Oh, okay.
And that just proved it to him. A good domain, when you hunt down, it has real transferable power.
So that's where the hunter reputation comes from.
Exactly. He's called the single greatest hunter by some.
Yeah.
Just has this knack for finding valuable, untapped generics. Think Firefly.com, Yellow.com, names that became huge.
Yeah, iconic assets. And that skill, finding the absolute best .coms, that's what he's applying to AI now.
That's the argument. Yeah, that same eye for quality. He also learned, maybe the hard way, to shift focus.
Meaning?
Well, there was that whole ChristianRonaldo.com thing, bit of a trademark minefield.
Yeah.
So he pivoted away from riskier stuff like that.
Okay, to safer ground.
To what they call liquid assets. Between, say, 2006 and 2016, he really zeroed in on 2- and 3-letter .coms.
Liquid meaning easy to sell, reliable value.
Pretty much. The most reliably tradable domains on the planet, really. They held value, traded often in that, 20K to 35K range back then. Very predictable.
Yeah.
And that's how you build serious deployable capital. Consistency.
Got it. And his brother, James,
Yeah.
the hustler, he came in around then.
Yeah, around 2015, right when that 3-letter .com market was really hot. James jumped in, started hustling, making commissions, sales, and pretty quickly became, quote, autonomous.
Meaning he made enough to start buying his own stuff.
Exactly. Used his earnings to build his own inventory. It's actually a classic path, for anyone listening who wants to get in. Find a liquid asset class, work hard, build capital, then invest it yourself.
So point is, these guys aren't just throwing darts. They're seasoned investors, built their capital methodically.
Right. Decades of finding proven liquid assets, which makes their all-in bet on AI, well, it's a really big deal.
And puts them squarely against someone like Drew, who's much more bearish, skeptical.
Yeah, Drew holds a very different position. His concern isn't really about whether AI itself is powerful. It's more structural, about the market for these domains.
Okay, what's his main worry?
He's focused on the long tail risk. For the vast majority of people trying to invest in AI, he figures 99% are chasing names that are basically lottery tickets.
Meaning speculative, not fundamentally valuable.
Right. And they're going to get burned by the high renewal costs for these AI names,
Yeah.
Waiting for a big payday that just isn't coming for most of them.
Ouch, that's harsh. So the carrying costs will sink the small players. But does that affect the top names, the premium ones? Doesn't a rising tide lift all boats, even the expensive ones?
Well, Drew argues the tide won't rise forever. He predicts consolidation. Big time.
Consolidation how?
He thinks AI innovation, all these cool tools, eventually they just get rolled up as features into the big guys, the 5 to 10 major players, Google, OpenAI, Anthropic, whoever.
So the buyer pool shrinks dramatically.
Exactly. If AI just becomes a feature everyone uses, who needs a specific .ai domain in the long run? It limits the market for even the premium names eventually.
Then there's the classic argument, right? The .com ceiling. that any other extension, .io, .xyz, now AI, it's always capped by what the .com version is worth.
That's Drew's line, absolutely. If you invest in a second-choice extension, you accept that limit. Health.ai can't be worth 10 times health.com, in his view. You're always playing second fiddle.
Okay, solid bearish case. But Andy Booth,
Yeah.
he just throws that whole idea out the window.
Pretty much. He says AI is different. It's a monstrous paradigm shift. You can't compare it to .io or whatever came before. It's fundamental. So that price ceiling, he thinks it's irrelevant for AI.
So how does he justify that? What's the strategy then?
Quality over quantity, laser focus. I mean, the source confirms he's spending 6 figures on single domains.
Wow, like which ones?
Names like home.ai, art.ai, cognitive.ai, just killer, one-word generics, things he sees as infinitely demandable, only the absolute best, nothing else matters.
Okay, but the core question Drew raises,
Mm-hmm.
how does art.ai escape the gravity of art.com's value? Is Andy saying it's just a different market segment, or that the .ai itself adds value, makes it better in some way?
He argues for specialization. The bullish idea is, for a company purely focused on AI, whose whole reason for existing is AI, think Mistral.ai, the French company.
Yeah.
For them, AI isn't second choice. It's the preferred brand. It screams cutting edge, optimized by machine. It's an additive choice, not a backup. Mistral.com just doesn't send the same signal.
Ah, okay, so .com is for the general audience maybe, but AI is for the specialist, the AI native company. It's a branding statement.
Precisely. And he's so sure about the specialized branding that he's predicting, quote, epic sales, 7 figures, maybe even 8 figures for these top AI names.
8 figures, wow.
He thinks the market activity this year, 2024, is going to prove him right. It's all about the intent behind the brand.
Okay, let's broaden out a bit, because this isn't just about domain prices, is it? There are bigger strategic questions. We've seen threats before. Social media, mobile apps. People said they'd kill domains.
Right, and they didn't. Domains proved pretty resilient. But, you know, this AI debate, it does feel a bit different. The speed of change is just exponential.
Yeah, it feels faster. Which leads to that ubiquity debate you mentioned. Drew's point there sounds really strong.
It is compelling. If AI tech just becomes everywhere, like every company uses it, just like they use email or databases now, banks, flower shops, everyone,
Right.
then why brand yourself with a feature everyone has? In that world, the AI extension, it does kind of become redundant, doesn't it?
Yeah, if everyone is AI, no one is AI. That makes sense. Powerful critique.
It is. But Andy's counter is, even if AI tools are everywhere, the right generic AI names like health.ai, they'll still be essential.
I do.
For companies whose product isn't just using AI, but is defined by AI optimization, think a startup building a new AI diagnostic tool that's totally different from, say, WebMD using some AI features on health.com.
Okay, I see. So health.com is general health info, maybe with some AI features. But health.ai is specifically for like an AI-driven health product or service, different audience, different value proposition.
That's the argument. The user base is different. And that specialization justifies the premium price for those big single-word generics. If you own the keyword that defines AI for that whole industry, that's incredibly valuable digital real estate, even if the tech itself is common.
Right, so owning the category-defining word in the AI context.
Exactly. It's a different ball game than the .com.
Which brings us back to risk, because this sounds amazing for the winners, but terrifying if you pick wrong. This feels like the key takeaway for anyone listening, right? Managing that risk.
Absolutely. Look, even James Booth, who's bullish alongside Andy, he notes his own strategy. He's investing in AI, yeah, even some 2-word names, but it's only about 20% of his capital.
Only 20%, even for a bull. That says a lot.
It does. Even the optimists see this as high risk, high reward.
Yeah.
Which leads to Andy's really crucial advice, and you got to take this seriously. This has got to be capital you can afford to lose.
Right. Don't bet the rent money.
Definitely not. The market's still figuring itself out, the tech is moving insanely fast, and everything depends on your ability to, quote, recognize quality.
Yeah, if you can't tell the difference between a truly infinitely demandable name like art.ai and some weaker term that's just going to cost you thousands in renewal fees, you need to stay out.
That middle ground in AI, that's where money goes to die, according to this view. Brutal, but probably true.
And then there's the really big, like, existential question they raised in the discussion. Could this AI revolution actually make domain names irrelevant?
Totally. Like, maybe we all just interact through centralized apps or new kinds of interfaces. Does the domain itself fade away?
It's the ultimate question, isn't it? But look, the smartest people in this game, the ones placing these huge bets,
Hmm.
they're gambling that the domain structure, that basic name dot extension format, remains the bedrock, the foundation of the internet.
At least for a while. At least for the foreseeable future, yeah. They're banking on the idea that even as things change, humans still need that simple, memorable word association, that single iconic name for a concept or place online. That power seems enduring.
Interesting. The power of a single word.
It's lasted this long.
So what does this all mean when you boil it down?
Okay, the big takeaway for you, the listener, is probably this. If you're tempted by AI domains, success isn't about grabbing lots of names. It's not about volume.
Right.
It hinges on identifying those really iconic single-word generics, the ones with undeniable relevance to the AI tech itself. If you do decide to invest, you absolutely need the capital, and maybe more importantly, the conviction and the eye to go after only the absolute cream of the crop, the infinitely demandable ones.
Because anything less.
Anything less is just super vulnerable to that consolidation risk Drew talked about.
Yeah.
High fees, shrinking buyer pool, very risky.
Okay. So we know .com is king for the masses, the default. But if AI really is this monstrous paradigm shift Andy predicts, and if that specialization branding really takes hold, here's the thought.
Yeah.
Which specific, iconic, single-word .ai domain do you think will be the very first one to actually sell for more than its .com equivalent?
Yeah.
Driven by these AI pioneers, the smartest minds building the future. What's that word? Something for you to think about as you watch this space evolve, or maybe explode.